Good morning. Welcome to People's Church. Paulette has an announcement that she wants to share as we begin this morning. So Paulette.
Good morning. I have a message from Judy Michelin about her So Powerful project that you might have been hearing about. If you need to know more about this, there's a display out behind this door over here. And her message is simply regarding writing note cards, which just are put in the purses that they send to the girls in Zambia to help. This helps them complete their education. And I won't go into a lot of detail about that. There's more information about that. So there are note cards out there. You can take them with you, and it's just a means of encouraging the students to stay in school, and also that someone cares about them. So you can take them with you, and Judy said that you can bring them back, not next week, because I think we're going to be doing other things, but the following Sunday to give them to her. And I'll be out there if you have any questions, so thank you.
Thanks, Paulette. I have been told that there is rhubarb available out along this side of the building. I understand there's tons and tons of rhubarb available outside the building. Did the plants over here get claimed? Marcy, do you know? Jan? Okay, so they're all gone, okay. Otherwise, you could have had your own rhubarb plant if you liked that at one point. Might still be able to. Normally on this Sunday in June, we would be televising or Zooming or simulcasting General Assembly worship here at People's. We are not doing that this morning, obviously, because this is Ryan's last Sunday. The General Assembly worship will be shared the first Sunday in August, which is August 6th. There were 2 votes at General Assembly that the congregation had ideas and thoughts about. One of them was a vote on Article 2, which is a rewriting of the principles of Unitarian Universalism. That passed with 86.3% of the vote yesterday. Lou?
But they have voted that we will continue to discuss.
Right. Yep, it still has to go, yeah, it still has to go to a second vote next year. Next year, it must pass by 75% of the vote. This year, it had to pass by 50 in order to be continued. Next year, it has to be passed by 75. So it's not a done deal yet, but with 86.3%, it looks like it probably is pretty close to being that. We still have a few spots where we could use some help with Pride on July 8th. That is an event from 11 o'clock in the morning until 7 o'clock in the evening. The 11 o'clock shift is the one that gets to set up, and the one that works from 5 to 7 gets to tear down. So if you're able to help with any of the shifts that day, please let me know. Last thing I want to share with you is that next Sunday is the picnic. It will be at Daniels Park. It will be in the pavilion next to the splash pad. There are no stairs involved. It is a short walk from the parking lot to the pavilion. And if it gets too terribly hot, you've got the splash pad just a few feet away as well. So you're invited to come. Bring a dish to share, and bring your own table service, your own drinks, and if you want a lawn chair, bring those as well. Welcome to People's Church. People's is a church that welcomes everyone. Your finances, your sexuality, your gender, and looks simply don't matter. At Peoples, we live by and promote 8 principles. We believe that each and every person is important. We believe that all people should be treated fairly and kindly. We believe that we should accept one another and keep on learning together. We believe that each person must be free to search for what is true and right in life. We believe that all persons should have a vote about the things that concern them. We believe in working for a peaceful, fair, and free world. We believe in caring for our planet Earth, the home that we share with all living things. We believe in building the beloved community, free of racism and oppression. All people of goodwill are welcome, and we're happy that you have joined us this morning on your journey. If you are new to Peoples, you should find a green card in the pew racks in front of you. We invite you to complete the card and drop it in the offering plate later in the service. This will allow you to be added to the mailing list so you can stay up to date and informed of all the things happening here at Peoples. We are joined this morning in leading and facilitating worship with Christina Roth-Klinck on the piano at the very last minute this morning. So thank you, Christina. Jackie and Robin running the tech. Gary is running the sound system. Randy is the special musician. Ada, Peyton, and Ryan will provide the story for all ages. And our preacher this morning is the Interim Director of Faith Formation, Ryan Roth-Klinck.
Who we are. Under the right circumstances, playing with fire is a delight. Imagine being gathered round a fire pit as the crackling flames invite us to sing, dance, and roast a marshmallow or two. Our chalice also invites us to play, although with ideas rather than marshmallows. The flame encourages us to explore who we are, who our neighbors are, and where we are on our spiritual journeys. Today, we light this chalice in the spirit of play. Let us trust the light to guide us in this hour and in the days to come, finding joy along the way. And as Davis is lighting the chalice, will you please join me in our affirmation? Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth and love, and to help one another. Randy to do our prelude music.
There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. The corn is as high as an elephant's eye. And I think that it's reaching clear up to the sky. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. All the cattle are standing like statues. All the cattle are standing like statues. They don't move their heads when they see me ride by. But a little brown heifer is winking her eye. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. All the sounds of the earth are like music. All the sounds of the earth are like music. The breeze is so busy, it don't miss a tree. But an old weeping willow is laughing at me. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. Oh, what a beautiful day.
Our opening words were written by me, but based off of John McCutcheon's song, Cut the Cake. And you all have a part. We can practice it really quick. Your words are simply, let's cut the cake and eat some more. So let's try it together. Let's cut the cake and eat some more. Awesome. So I'll put out my hands like this when it's your turn. Let's cut the cake. When we see a cake, we all know what is going on. We know there is something good happening because there's cake. Cake is the universal sign of celebration. We know there is some kind of important transition going on in someone's life because there's cake. When it is a child's birthday party, let's cut the cake and eat some more. When a student graduates from preschool, high school, or college, let's cut the cake and eat some more. When a baby shower is thrown or adoption happens, let's cut the cake and eat some more. When someone moves away, gets a new job, is promoted, or a new pastor comes to the church, let's cut the cake and eat some more. When someone retires after many years of service and care to an organization, let's cut the cake and eat some more. And when someone we love transitions from life to death, let's cut the cake and eat some more. Somehow, cake, of all things, binds all these significant moments of transition and change together. Cake reminds us to take space to remember and celebrate the good old days. Cake helps us to wish the best for all who are transitioning. Cake creates space in our hearts to acknowledge a new reality that says, things won't be the same, and we'll miss what was. But even in the change, we know this is for sure. There will be more cake, another reason to celebrate in the near future. Will you please rise in body or spirit for our first hymn, number 220, Bring Out the Festal Bread, and we're singing verses 1 through 5. Bring out the festal bread and sing songs of freedom. Shout with the slaves who fled and sing songs of freedom. What modern pharaohs live in arrogance crowned? Who shall be sent to challenge folly unbounded? Bring out the festal bread and sing songs of freedom. Shout with the slaves who fled and sing songs of freedom. Chains still there are to break, their days are finished. Metal or subtle made, they're still not diminished. Bring out the festal bread and sing songs of freedom. Shout with the slaves who fled and sing songs of freedom. Still does resentment bind each brother and sister. Still do the plays affect as red as the river. Bring out the festal bread and sing songs of freedom. Shout with the slaves who fled and sing songs of freedom. Long be our journey, if justice is worth it. Dance, Sister Miriam, help us to birth it. Bring out the festal bread and sing songs of freedom. Shout with the slaves who fled and sing songs of freedom. Oh, people, lift your heads and look to the mountains. Bushes of flame still call us, rocks still gush fountains. Bring out the festal bread and sing songs of freedom. Shout with the slaves who fled and sing songs of freedom. You may be seated. I'm gonna all right, and I'm gonna. Ooh, that's hot. Sorry. I'm gonna invite Peyton and Ada up, and so a couple. How many? Two weekends ago. 2 weeks. About 2.5 weeks ago. Ada and Peyton and myself and some middle schoolers, and yes, Lou was there as well. But some of the other middle schoolers from the other churches in the youth co-op that we've been doing went to Minneapolis on an anti-racism trip. And it was really powerful and really cool. And I'm going to let Ada and Peyton tell you a little bit about their experience and if they remember what they did, a little bit about what they did, and I might fill in some gaps at the end.
So, I don't know the closeness, but it was really fun. We went and did a whole bunch of really cool stuff in Minneapolis with a few other churches, or a couple other churches. We got to go to like the George Floyd Monument and the Say Tool Center. It was really cool. I don't want to take the whole time. At the George Floyd Memorial, we learned about why George Floyd was killed and how he was killed. And we went to where he was killed, like the spot. And there was a whole bunch of like pictures and his name and like other things, random things just there.
Yeah, and so that was a big part of our trip, was going to the George Floyd Memorial so that the middle schoolers could experience it and we could have a really intentional conversation around how black people have been killed by police in the United States. So I felt like it was a really important conversation for a lot of the kids. They had a lot of really good questions and thoughts. Yes, Peyton.
There was also the was it a graveyard? Yeah. They said that there's a fence that said I think it was 152 or 156 or something. People got killed, black people that got killed by police officers.
Yeah, and so a big part of the memorial is they wanted to list a lot of the names of people who we know for certain who have been killed by police over the years leading up to George Floyd's death. And since then, they've added some names afterwards and some monuments after his death as well, which is really powerful. And that was, again, Minneapolis is not very far, and I highly recommend if you are in Minneapolis that you take the time just to go visit. It's a very moving experience. You guys want to talk about some of the other stuff that you did? Okay, yeah. Do you want to talk about the Dignity Center? Okay.
So yeah, we went to the Dignity Center, which I thought was really cool. They had a bunch of resources for people. What I was really interested in, because it affects me personally, kind of, and me and my friends, they were beginning to offer hormone replacement therapy, hopefully, to trans people in need, because Minnesota is a sanctuary state, I think, because Iowa, well, not just Iowa, but a lot of places are beginning to make HRT like illegal. So I thought that was really cool. But among other things, the Dignity Center was also really neat for other reasons. But
There was a lot of homeless people there, and people were helping them about their. They were helping with their problems.
Yeah, and so the Dignity Center, they have it's a Lutheran pastor, and she's also a licensed therapist as well, so she can do a lot of the mental health work with the homeless community and people who are trying to get housing and things like that that may not be as available through normal government programs. And so, and the big reason why we visited the Dignity Center is she has her pulse on poverty in the Minneapolis area, and we'd also talked a lot about how racism really affects lots of different institutions. It's just, I think a quote she said is it's present everywhere, basically. Yeah, and then we also went to a place called CTUL, which is CTUL, and they're a workers' rights organization. And they specifically, they help organize people who can't form labor unions, basically. So construction workers and things like that. He talked a lot about construction work. Do you guys remember anything else from there? If you don't, it's okay.
hopefully it doesn't fall off again. We gotta hold it. So the Say Tool is really cool. They help like ungilded workers, I think, was the term. And we learned how to do like with a grid chart thing, how to do like community organization, which I again thought was really neat, and I'm probably gonna use that in the future. So yeah.
I do, but it was a lot. Yeah. It was a lot. Like he talked about his like.
Yeah, so the person we met with, his name is Trey, and he is half black, half white, and so he talked a lot about his experience growing up as someone coming from both races and how that was challenging, but also really interesting because the white side of his family had been part of labor unions, a long history of that, and the black side had obviously experienced a lot of oppression, and so that was a really interesting part of our trip as well, and they work right next to the George Floyd Memorial as well, so very conveniently located in that regard. Oh, yeah, Peyton?
We went to the World Market, the global market, whatever it's called, and the Mall of America, and we also went.
No, you can go.
We also went to the what's it called? That parade? No. The open streets, and then we got rained out, and I put my bag down and started playing in the rain, and I got soaked.
We got rained out at open streets, and I lost my water bottle in the confusion. But yeah, it was wild.
What was open streets
But
about? Like, why was there this giant street that was just open for people to walk on?
it was like a bunch of different like independent businesses who had like booths out and stuff, and they had games. Kind just like a festival basically, and it was really neat. And you got to walk around. I'm sure there was like another thing, but
No, it's okay. And so, one second, Payne. So Open Streets was a really interesting thing. It's all about helping people understand walkability in cities, because oftentimes places in the United States aren't very walkable, and so they close off an entire street and make it walkable so people can experience what it's like to actually just have an open street without cars, I'm worrying about getting hit.
I was gonna say that I also got my blood pressure taken. Yeah, there was a blood pressure booth.
I didn't know you did that. Another big component of this trip was learning a lot about the Black Christian church. So we stayed at a church called Park Ave United Methodist Church, which is apparently where the music artist Prince grew up and got married in, which was really cool. And they, at some point, were very intentionally integrated between a white community and a black community. So it's a very diverse church, and part of our reflection time was learning a little bit about like black theology and black liberation and why those are really important concepts. And then we went to experience their worship service on Sunday morning. Yeah, why don't you guys talk about the worship service and what that was like for you?
It was really long and really loud, and they were mostly just singing about their religion and about God and stuff.
Yeah, I thought it was really neat. It was definitely a different experience from the church we have here, but in a good way. It was like there was a lot of singing, and yes, it was very loud, but I thought it was really neat, and I really liked the music. So, So the church, we got to volunteer at, the church has a lot of different like side programs running. What? Oh, I don't know if the hockey team was like actually with them. I thought it was like kind of to the side. There was like a hockey team thing. But one of the side projects that the church ran was the Cornerstone, which had really like, it was a thrift store with really low prices for people who need it. So like everything there was $1 or under. And so we volunteered there one morning for like a couple hours, I think. And we'd like organize stuff and just help them clean up and lugged clothes around. But it was really cool. And at the end, they let us buy an item of clothing, which was really neat.
What did you buy with your?
I can't walk in high heels, but I'm going to learn. I got some really cool like denim looking high heels. It was neat.
They made you like 3 or 4.
I know. It was great being tall for once. It is my first pair. I'm going to learn, but it was great being tall for once.
It was also really big, like the church. It was huge.
Do you want to tell about the hockey team a little bit?
They were called the Dynamites, and like the church was like helping them out. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, so the church had helped. It was really the only inner city black ice hockey team in the Minneapolis area, and the church helped it start. And they've spun off to their own nonprofit now, basically, but they still are housed at the church.
And also, the youth room was as big as the worship room here. And that's where we slept.
All right, thanks, guys. Oh. Yeah. A happy birthday thing? There you go.
We're really going to miss you, Ryan. And so the kids wanted to make sure that they gave you something that you can remember them by. It's their handprints and a thumbprint of a child who is not too thrilled about his handprint. I had to bribe him with fruit snacks and a water gun fight. In the rainbow, and then there's one handprint in the back, too, that has the full rainbow. I know. And they have a whole bunch of cards, but I'll make sure that you get that after church. But we're going to miss you terribly, and we want you to remember us.
Thank you all so much. Whoops. I'm going to really cherish these gifts, and we'll have time to say goodbyes after the service, too, I know. So.
And Peyton, you thought an hour and a half was long? I can assure you that our friends in the black churches thought that was a short service. Joy with celebration and storytelling, the good neighbor experiment. The spiritual practice of celebration is different from the common concept of partying or lauding an individual. Rather, it is a way of connecting with the community. Why then is celebration so crucial? According to Richard Foster, there is genuine benefit of intentional celebration, which is joy. Foster also notes that celebration saves us from taking ourselves too seriously. How can we possibly take ourselves too seriously when there is fun, food, music, and creative activities like painting our hands green for an art project?
Let's rise in body or spirit for our next hymn, 406, Let Us Break Bread Together. Let us break bread together on our knees. Let us break bread together on our knees. When I fall on my knees with my face to the rising sun, oh Lord, have mercy on me. Let us break bread together on our knees. Let us break bread together on our knees. When I fall on my knees with my face to the rising sun, oh Lord, have mercy on me. Let us praise God together on our knees. Let us praise God together on our knees. When I fall on my knees with my face to the rising sun, oh Lord, have mercy on me. You may be seated.
From Archbishop Desmond Tutu. Discovering more joy does not save us from the inevitability of hardship and heartbreak. In fact, we may cry more easily, but we will laugh more easily too. Perhaps we are just more alive. Yet, as we discover more joy, we can face suffering in a way that enables rather than embitters. We have hardship without becoming hard. We have heartbreaks without becoming broken.
Can you hear me? Okay. Actually turned this on instead of forgetting to. So this morning I could really use all of your help with something. You see, I have a problem. And the problem is I don't really like saying goodbye to people because it makes me feel sad. It's a whole long story I don't want to get into. But since you're a captive audience, I guess I'll tell you about it. You see, I've been at this church for the past year, and they've treated me really well. But this Sunday, it's my last Sunday. And I'm not looking forward to it because when I say goodbye, I start to get emotional. And then I start crying. And then it's really awkward because I don't like making things awkward. So then I just run away in the middle of a big speech. So you can obviously see why I desperately need your help. And so I need your help to help me plan the most epic, awesome, awe-inspiring party ever. So everyone can be so distracted that they forget to say goodbye to me. And so I can avoid my feelings as well. So can you all help me do that? Wow, okay, someone's ready for me to just leave, I guess. Can you all help me plan this super epically awesome party? Yes? Okay, all right. So I need some help with party suggestions. What should we have at this super epically awesome party? I see a hand back here, and I got a microphone. Yeah, there's some in the back here. What should we have at this party?
A cake.
A cake? Yeah, that sounds good. A cake
And
sounds
we
good.
should eat more.
And we should eat more of it? Okay.
Cut it and then eat more.
Okay, sounds good. Let's pass it to the next person.
Ice cream. Lots and lots of ice cream.
Lots of ice cream. That sounds great. You need ice cream at a party and cake.
Rainbows.
Rainbows, yes. Rainbows sound amazing. I haven't seen.
How about a bouncy house?
In a bouncy house? Oh my gosh. I'm super psyched about this party already.
Presents.
Presents, yes. What
Presents
kind
are
of party is it without presents? All right, Girta.
Balloons.
Balloons, like really, really big balloons? Yeah, like giant balloons. What else do we need at this party, folks?
Dancing and singing.
Dancing and singing, yes, yes. Oh,
Gifts.
gifts, yes. We need even more gifts than before, yes. I want a mountain of gifts, giant gifts. What else do we need at this party?
Hugs.
Hugs, yes. Hugs are super distracting. Great idea. All right, how about a couple more?
Confetti.
Confetti, oh my gosh, yes. Confetti everywhere.
Another bouncy house.
Another bouncy house. A disco ball. Confetti cannon. All right.
A big band.
A big band, yes, I love jazz music. What should we have at this big, giant, epic party?
1,000 pony rides.
1,000 pony rides. Okay, that is amazing. That's exactly what we need at this party. This truly sounds like an epic party to me. I think we have plenty of things to distract everyone from me. That feels, well, you know what? There's still a problem with this. Even though planning this party has made me laugh and feel kind of happy, at least in certain moments, it hasn't really fixed the problem yet. Now that the party planning is over, I still feel kind of sad, honestly. My sadness hasn't gone away, even though I've kind of tried to avoid it. I'm wondering if anyone else is like me. Who else doesn't like saying goodbye? You can raise your hand. Yeah, a lot of us. Does anyone else here do things to avoid saying goodbye to people? I definitely do. Maybe a few fewer hands. Does anyone else feel a little bit sad about the changes that are coming for the church? Yeah. I'm thankful that you all raised your hands. But truly, I'm thankful for a moment where we can all really name how we're feeling together. Because whenever I've gone through changes and transitions and old leaders leaving and new leaders, coming, those things can bring up a lot of different emotions inside of me. And those emotions kind of get messy and complicated. And whenever I avoid those emotions and try and cover them up with happiness, those other emotions kind of tend to leak out in other ways. And I have an example actually from just a few days ago. So this past week I was on vacation. It was great. Vacation is awesome. I recommend it. But as part of the vacation, I went on a retreat with some friends of mine. This group of friends and I, particularly there were two of them, we had worked together over the past 6 years on a project called Wayfaring Companions. And it was a program we started to train people how to listen to a world that's longing to be heard, to train them to be spiritual directors like us. And this past spring, the two other founders, my friends, decided they didn't want to do it anymore. It made me really sad. And I'm still really sad about it, honestly. But they decided to move on. One of them got a job, and one of them decided that she wanted to do something else. And so we did this retreat together to say goodbye, to have space to end things well together, to say, we're doing this last kind of hurrah together, something fun together that we can enjoy and just kind of relax and spend time with each other. But I was honestly really resistant to saying goodbye to them. While we were together, I just allowed myself to celebrate, to share about all the good things that we did together. We had a time for doing toasts, and we literally made toast bread, not like with any drinks, and held up toast and took bites of it. It was very absurd and silly, and I kind of lived quite a bit into that spirit. I was almost too silly. And so I didn't really get to say goodbye in maybe the way I really wanted to. And so, of course, without fail, as soon as we got in the car to leave, I started to feel irritable. I was stressed about getting back to Cedar Rapids in time for the Sunday service, where I had to say goodbye to more people that I didn't want to say goodbye to. And I kept on, snapping at Christina whenever she asked me really simple questions. And then it kind of all came to a head where some of Audrey's snacks are in my lap, and the lid had broken, and I, kind of turned it over, and the lid popped off, and all these little cereal pieces just went everywhere over the car, and I yelled and cursed. I was just so mad and upset about this silly little thing. And I felt embarrassed and ashamed because I knew that these were things that I shouldn't be getting upset about. And then finally Christina asked me, Ryan, are you upset because this is all over? Yeah, of course I was. Of course I began to cry and to let it all out, naming how I was afraid about all these changes that are coming, how I was going to missing my friends in this group and miss the people at People's Church, and how all this brought up hard memories of hard transitions from whenever I was growing up. And And that's kind of what it felt like whenever I finally said it, right? It was all pent up inside of me, but once I let it out, I could breathe a little bit easier, and I wasn't as irritable, and I was more like myself. And it can be so good to let it all out. There's this unfortunate tendency, I think, in the United States of America and in our culture where we do our darndest, as people in Texas say, to find ways to avoid the messy, complicated emotions that come with saying goodbye. And it's really unfortunate that we do this to ourselves because we know what it feels like to keep our emotions within us. We know what it's like to let our emotions out. We keep on bottling them up for some reason, maybe because of cultural messages about we're supposed to be certain things. You know, and when I think about cake, really our culture teaches us that the response to a transition is to buy some cake and be happy. But cake and happiness really don't get to the depth of what we're actually feeling. We all know that change and transition are a lot more complicated than cake. The smile we put on is a mask to hide our true feelings. The cake is there to cover the reality that we may not actually be celebrating at all on the inside. Our culture teaches us to move too quickly to happiness and bypass all of our other emotions that really need a lot of care and validation. And I think this is really integral for us in times of transition, to be intentional about how we go about our celebrations. There should be space for cake, because cake is delicious. It should be there. And space to truly celebrate someone who is transitioning. But we have to make sure our celebration makes space for the other feelings we're experiencing. And I believe an important way we can create space for other emotions is by making sure we're differentiating between happiness and joy. Happiness and joy are not the same thing. And I want to be really clear about that. They are not the same thing. Happiness is an experience when a good thing happens in a moment. It leaves us with a temporary, hear that again, temporary positive feeling. Happiness is when you take your first bite of that cake and the sweetness hits your taste buds and the sugar enters your system. You get a little high from it, right? You feel happy while you eat the cake. But once that cake is gone, that happy feeling dissipates really quickly. Joy is something much greater than happiness. Joy is evoked from a place of well-being and is a source and cause of delight. Joy is something that lingers and lasts a long time. As our second reading from Desmond Tutu noted, there is real room within joy to experience other emotions. I want to read what he said again, a little bit different order here. Tutu says, discovering more joy does not save us from the inevitability of hardships and heartbreak. In fact, we may cry more easily, but we will laugh more easily too. As we discover more joy, we can face suffering in a way that enables rather than embitters. We have hardship without becoming hard. We have heartbreaks without being broken. Perhaps we are just more alive. I really like that last part of what he says there. When we celebrate with joy, we are allowing ourselves to be more alive. And when we're alive, we aren't just happy about the cake, right? We're sad that things have to end. We're disappointed that something didn't last longer. We're thankful for the time that we had, sure. We're also frustrated about the circumstances that led to a transition. We are both worried and hopeful about the future. Today is really the first of many transitions to come for this congregation. And my hope for all of us, myself included, is that we can give ourselves permission to be people who are fully alive as these transitions happen. I want each one of us to be able to feel what we need to feel without any cultural pressures to just be happy. So when we go downstairs and cut the cake, and you feel like you need to cry, please cry and don't apologize, because it means that you are alive. And if you need to stab your cake a little too strongly because you're disappointed and frustrated, please stab your cake because it means that you're alive. And if you need to do a silly dance with your cake when the music is playing because you're so overcome by joy and delight, then please dance with your cake because it means that you are alive. And if you're too embarrassed to dance with your cake, don't worry, I will beat you to it. I literally have a dance called the cake dance that I do at every single wedding and anytime there's cake. So you'll see me out there, don't worry. The last thing I really want to leave you with is this. One of the most powerful ways we can help ourselves honor all these emotions and cultivate joy is through telling stories. I don't know what it is, but there's something really magical that happens whenever we tell stories to each other. Stories are something that last and linger well beyond anyone here, and they help to preserve the memory of our time together. So again, when we go downstairs to cut the cake, I ask you take time to share stories from this past year. Share a good memory. Share a funny story. Share a story that will make you laugh. Share a story about a time that we met a challenge together. And if you want to, too, I'm okay with this. If I drove you crazy up here, please tell a story about that, too. Like, planning a party in the middle of a sermon. And when I leave this community, I want to be clear that I will tell joyful stories about you all as well. I'll tell the story about Marian Patterson, how she reached out to me when Christina and I first moved here, and I was trying to find my way after I lost my job, and I was struggling to find meaningful work. She offered me wisdom, care, and kindness during a difficult time in my life. And I'll tell the story about how this church very serendipitously offered me a full-time job when my family needed it the most, right when we were having Audrey, our first child, and we weren't quite sure how we were going to pay our bills. Your generosity made a difference, truly. And I'll tell the story of chasing laughing children through the halls, about holiday pageants with animals and snacks, and messy art projects that left stain-filled memories on my clothes. The children of this church remind me how to be playful again. And I'll tell the story of how the church agreed to try something new with the youth co-op, how peoples agreed to collaborate rather than isolate, and how deep friendships were formed thanks to this experiment. The youth here reminded me of the importance of asking questions and challenging our assumptions about how we think things should work. And I'll tell the story of how we started a folk choir and sang super fun songs that made the church smile. This group gave me confidence in myself and affirmed my abilities when I was hesitant to step into that leadership. And I'll tell the story about this place where I found wonderful and dear friends seeking to make the world a better place while supporting each other on their spiritual journeys. People's Church, this church, you, each of you, will be a bright spot in my story when I look back upon this time. It'll be a time of deep gratitude and joy. So thank you all. Okay, everyone take a deep breath. We still have a few more things to do together. And so I'm going to invite us into a time of centering and meditation and prayer. And during this time, I'd like to have us focus intentionally on the inward parts of ourselves. So much of our time is spent focused on our exterior lives, going to work, meetings, activities, taking care of loved ones, living our lives in the world, we seldom take the necessary space to practice paying attention to how and what we are feeling on the inside. You can think of this centering then as an invitation and an opportunity to care for the sacred, secret parts within you that long for attention, just for a little bit. And so I'm going to offer some prompts and words to evoke some reflection on your emotions. And if you find it helpful, you might want to get something to write the prompts down on a piece of paper, or maybe a note in your phone where you can offer some reflections for yourself. Or you may simply feel the need to just listen and allow the words to wash over you and trust that you'll remember what rises up from within you. So I'll invite us to take a moment to pause, to take a deep breath in and out. If it's helpful to close your eyes, to begin looking within ourselves, remembering that our emotions are all friends who seek to help us be fully alive. And so your first invitation is to look back in your past and to remember a previous time of transition. Allow a memory or even multiple memories to come forward to the front of your mind. And remember how these times of transition felt. What emotions were there? What were the names of these emotions, if you can't remember? Where did you feel these things in your body? Trust what comes forward. There may be an invitation to move even deeper. So we take a moment to pause and think about these questions and reflect on our emotions. I'm going to invite us to move to the next invitation. So to help us transition, invite you to take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And your second invitation is to consider the present and the transitions that are beginning today for our church. Again, notice what emotions and body reactions come when you hear this reality. Change is here. It's happening right now. This Sunday is just the beginning. As you consider this reality of transition and change today, what emotions come up for you? Where do you feel them in your body? Can you put names to what you're feeling? Again, trust what rises up within you. And to the best of your ability, welcome it with open arms, knowing that these feelings are there to help you through this process of change. And so again, we take a moment to pause and reflect on these questions. And I'm going to invite us to move to our final invitation. And so again, we invite you to take a deep breath in And a deep breath out, marking that transition. And your final invitation is to consider the transitions that are near in the future. We know more change is on its way for our congregation. Things will be different than they have been. Notice how your body reacts to this truth. What within you offers resistance? Where is there welcome? What within you needs to be honored and acknowledged so you can face these upcoming transitions? And again, we give ourselves a moment's pause to reflect on these questions. Hear these closing words of this time. We are grateful for you, our wise bodies, who often know more and carry more than we give credit to you. During these times of transition, may we take space to pause and notice what you were trying to teach us. May it be so. Amen.
This is the time in the service where we have our candle ritual. You are invited to come down the center aisle to take a moment in meditation, to light a candle, return to your seat by the side aisle. Everyone is welcome to participate in this. This morning we will light 2 candles, one for all of those affected by the laws across the country that have impacted LGBTQ plus, especially the youth, but also the adults. And a second one for all of the violence that continues to ravage this country and other places across the world. You're invited to come this morning. the people of Peoples have proven to be very generous when it comes to supporting the work of this congregation. At this time, we will receive an offering to fund the ministries and the outreach of this congregation. There are 4 ways of giving. If you're in the sanctuary, there will be offering plates that will be passed. You may send a check to the church address, which is on your screen. You may also use the Vanco mobile app on your smart devices. And then you may also go to the peoplesuu.org website, and in the upper right-hand corner, there is a Donate Now tab, and you can make a donation that way as well.
Am I on? Okay. Actually, can we do Lean on Me for the benediction? Okay. We're going to do Lean on Me for the benediction and skip to the saying goodbye. Because I feel like Lean on Me is just such it's a goodbye song in a good way.
The past year has been very fun and exciting. It has been filled with many good events, especially for the children and the youth. You heard about some of those this morning with the youth co-op, but it's been fun to see the kids engaged again on Sunday mornings when you go down into the faith formation areas. And I'm so appreciative of what Brian has brought to us this past year. Unfortunately, this is it for Ryan. Friday is technically your last day, and that's your day off. So Thursday is your last day.
Yeah.
But it has been good having you here this year, and we certainly appreciate all that you have done for Peoples in this time. Ryan, the time has come for your departure. Thank you for the work you've done in caring for the children and the members of this congregation. Do you have any words?
Oh, do I have? Oh,
Yeah. You get to say something.
I get to say a farewell as well. Oh gosh, I don't like saying goodbye. I feel like I've said so many things in the sermon, but I just really want to impress upon you all, like, how formative and how thankful I am for this past year. Oh man, it meant a lot for my family, and it meant a lot to me to be able to use my gifts in this community. And so I'm sorely going to miss you all. And I'm still going to live in Cedar Rapids, so that's why I don't want to say goodbye, because it's like, we can still see each other. Just maybe not in the same capacity as before, but I just live down the street from the Wilcoxes and from the Pattersons, so you basically know where I live. So please don't be a stranger. And even though we're saying goodbye in this capacity, may it be a see you soon in other ways.
I invite you to share in the words that will appear on the screen. Ryan, Ryan, we recognize that our work together has ended. Thank you for your guidance and leadership, which the congregation will continue to learn from, even after you have departed. You can see we rehearsed this really, really well.
Okay. Okay, we're extinguishing the chalice now. Sorry. Will you please join me in our extinguishing? We extinguish this chalice flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
I just got a new hip. Missouri, picnic. Missouri, picnic. Come on, Surrey down, Stone Soul picnic. Surrey down, Stone Soul picnic. There'll be lots of time and wine. Red, yellow, honey, sassafras and moonshine. Red, yellow, honey, sassafras and moonshine. Stone Soul. Yeah, 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 yeah. Stone Soul. Yeah, 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 yeah. Surrey down to a Stone Soul picnic. Surrey down to a Stone Soul picnic. Rain and sun come in again. And from the skies come the Lord and the lightning. And from the skies come the Lord and the lightning. Stone Soul. Yeah, 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 yeah. Stone Soul. Yeah, 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 yeah. Surrey, Surrey, Surrey. There'll be trains of blossom, trains of music. There'll be trains of blossom, there'll be music. There'll be trains of trust, trains of golden dust. Come on, Surrey, enjoy, Surrey on down. Can you Surrey? Can you Surrey? Surrey Surrey down to a stone soul picnic. Surrey down to a stone soul picnic. Rain and sun come in again. And from the skies come the Lord and the lightning. And from the skies come the Lord and the lightning. Stone soul. Yeah, 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 yeah. Stone soul. Yeah, 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 yeah. Surrey, Surrey, Surrey. Thank you.
Our time together singing Lean on Me as a way to say farewell, see you soon, and a reminder to lean on each other during these transitions.